You know, it's funny. Originally, this video had a lot more of a direct point to it. I was intending to come to a conclusion about whether the Nazis were socialist, because Tick, and he's at it again fighting with Reddit, Tick infamously has this stupid ANCAP definition of socialism where he claims that socialism is when the government does stuff, essentially. And that means that the Nazis were socialists because they exercised a lot of control over the economy. That's dumb, because while the Nazis did control the economy, they didn't own a lot of it. They directed it, they told it what to do, but there were still a lot of private owners of private companies profiting from selling tanks and guns and planes and whatnot to fund the Nazi war effort. They weren't having all of their profits seized and all of their factories micromanaged by Albert Speer or some such. However, the term socialism is inherently open to this sort of mischaracterization because it's so difficult to pin down. Because really, it's not defined by what it is. It's defined by what it's not. I'll explain. The reason you can't really define it by what it is for is because what it's hypothetically in favor of, social ownership of the economy, isn't practically possible. There's utopian communists who will claim that it is, but they're obviously wrong if you have two brain cells. So instead, what socialists have to try and do is figure out a way to organize the economy such that society is served by the economy, despite society not actually being able to directly own everything. The only real thing that you're not allowed to consider as an option for what benefits society best is private ownership, i.e. capitalism, what we have now. That is explicitly rejected. That's the whole point of socialism, is the rejection of private ownership. However, what form this social ownership that isn't literal social ownership, because that isn't possible, takes is then completely open to interpretation. Because since society can't literally own it, you can come up with all sorts of theories and opinions about how one might construct an economy such that it serves society without actually being owned directly by society. So you'll have people like Richard Wolff who argue that all businesses should be co-ops. And you'll have Marxist-Leninists who claim that no, that's not good enough, because you still have a society made up of different competing groups that are working only for their own benefit rather than for the benefit of everyone. So we need the state to come in and run everything so that all of the economy can be directed towards the benefit of everyone in it. And so on. And honestly, there isn't much more to say than that. I have 2 scrapped videos that went on like 3 times longer than this about the merits of, all these different opinions. But the reality is, it all comes down to your opinion on what is best for society. That's totally subjective, which makes what socialism is totally up to you, basically. Except for it can't be private ownership, because that's already capitalism.